the one shouting loudest in any space. That's rarely a sign of real power, you know. Genuine strength doesn't make a fuss. It has zero need to advertise itself. Being quiet isn't about doing zero. It's about achieving everything without the drama. When others fly off the handle, a true master watches. Your force isn't in frantic action. It's found in your self-command. This is the very first step on your journey to owning your inner world. Yet, so many find this tough because we're taught from day one that every feeling that sweeps through us is us. We declare, I'm furious, I'm down, I'm so annoyed. But you are not these fleeting feelings. They are just experiences passing through your awareness. Picture a vast, clear ocean, and the waves are just temporary patterns on its surface. Your emotions are those waves, but you are the deep, unchanging ocean itself, perfectly still beneath. You aren't the turmoil you sometimes feel. You are the calm space where that turmoil plays out. When someone shows you disrespect, questions your worth, or tries to get a rise out of you, the typical human impulse is to feel that heat flare up inside. Your heart starts to race. Your breathing gets shallow, your hands might tighten, and just like that, you're swallowed by the moment. But right then, you overlook the very thing that gives you true influence. You forget you hold a choice. That inner witness, your calm center, is always there. It's the part of you that can observe yourself getting heated. It's the part of you that hears that inner voice ready to explode but doesn't join the shouting. It sees the emotional tempest but refuses to become it. This watcher, that's the real you. In ancient wisdom traditions like those of mountain sages, practitioners don't primarily train to overcome others. They train to conquer themselves. Every focused action, every conscious breath, every moment of deep calm is a method to train the mind, to observe instead of just reacting, to see anger bubble up and then release it like a tiny boat drifting away on a river. They understand that to truly navigate life, they must first navigate their inner landscape. And to do that, they can't glue their identity to these temporary emotional states, but to the steady awareness that sees it all. When someone aims to belittle you or wound your ego, you have to see their words as just bursts of energy. What ignites that energy and gives it impact is how much you hook into it. You start to think their view defines you. You feel your sense of self must fight back. But your inner witness, your calm core, doesn't need to defend. Your core understands that silence isn't surrender, it's profound insight. Ask yourself, who really feels the pain when you let anger take over? Who gets damaged when you lose your cool? It's not the person who pushed your buttons. It's you. You're the one carrying that internal fire. You're the one getting scorched from within. And ultimately, you sacrifice your tranquility, your clarity, your very center. When you operate from that place of the observer, you stop being yanked around by what's happening outside you. You no longer move to the beat of someone else's internal storm. You set your own rhythm. You walk your own journey. And that journey is made with composure, not fury, with insight, not knee-jerk responses. Let go of that urge to jump in and react to every single thing. Release the compulsion to always be right. Discard the notion that your feelings are your ultimate truth. They are guests passing through. They don't own the place. Treat them courteously, sure, but don't hand them the keys to your inner home. It demands incredible inner fortitude to sit with your frustration and not lash out. It requires discipline to feel slighted and still opt for quiet composure over a loud dispute. It takes genuine personal power to feel that inner turbulence gather and yet remain as steady as a deep-rooted tree. This isn't about bottling things up. This isn't a sign of being weak. It is self-command. It's recognizing that you are the awareness that perceives the emotion, not the emotion itself. You are the vast ocean, not the fleeting wave. And the more you practice guiding your mind to observe rather than impulsively react, the more you'll discover that very little can truly rock your boat anymore, because nothing gets into your inner sanctuary unless you decide to let it in. And when you live from that core awareness, your whole way of being shifts. You communicate with less franticness and more clear intention. You listen fully without feeling that constant need to jump in. You carry an inner peace not just as an idea, but as your natural way of existing. This is why your calm observer self isn't thrown by chaos, because it doesn't fight against it. It watches, it understands, and then it releases. Your real strength isn't found in what you feel, but in what you consciously choose to do with those feelings. Each time you observe and choose not to react, you build more inner strength. You become more solidly you, and nobody can unsettle a person who is firmly anchored in their own awareness. So, when irritation knocks, when an insult flies, when strong feelings surge, recall this: you are not the emotional weather. You are the calm, boundless sky that holds it all. Observing, breathing, staying free. Just breathe, watch, and hold on to your freedom. The external world isn't the actual issue. Your own internal clinging is. So many people go through their entire existence trying to manage everything around them. They attempt to alter others, control situations, sidestep any discomfort, and chase after a feeling of safety. But however much they shuffle the deck of their outer world, that internal unease lingers. They keep wondering why they still feel agitated, why things still get to them, why they still flare up. The answer is straightforward, but often hard to swallow. Nothing outside yourself can truly disrupt your peace unless you're already clinging to something inside that can be poked. You don't get angry just because of what they uttered. You get angry because their words hit a belief you're tightly holding on to. You don't feel hurt just because of what they did. You feel hurt because you had an expectation of them that went unmet. This clinging, this attachment, it's invisible, yet it can steer you without you even noticing. Attachment is like an unseen cord that ties your inner calm to something or someone outside of you. And when that external thing shifts, your peace gets tugged along with it. In places of deep wisdom, like ancient monasteries, monks cultivate detachment, not because they're indifferent, but because they know that genuine freedom can't coexist with deep-seated attachment. If you're tied to getting approval, you become a puppet to praise. If you're hooked on comfort, you start to dread any discomfort. If you build your whole world around certain people, you risk losing your own center when they change or go. People will shift, they'll enter your life and they'll leave. They'll agree with you one day and disagree the next. They might cherish you and then, for their own reasons, depart. The winds of circumstance will change. Life's seasons will always turn. The world isn't going to pause to meet your personal checklist of desires. And if your inner peace hinges on the world conforming to your script, you'll constantly be in a battle with how things actually are. When something gets under your skin, ask yourself, what am I really holding on to here? What core belief of mine is feeling poked? What part of my identity feels under attack? More often than not, you'll find your distress isn't born from the situation itself, but from the narrative you're spinning in your head about its significance. If someone overlooks you and you feel a sting of disrespect, it's not the mere act of being ignored that wounds you. It's your underlying belief that you must always be noticed. It's that dependence on acknowledgement that triggers the pain, not their silence. If someone else achieves something and you feel a pang of envy, it's not their success that's causing your unease. It's your attachment to constant comparison, your notion that their progress somehow diminishes your own. This is why the path to inner strength, like that taught by sages, isn't about trying to control the external world. It's about mastering your internal landscape. The very instant you let go of clinging, you become incredibly resilient. Not because difficult things stop happening, but because nothing can destabilize your core anymore. Detachment isn't about turning your back on life. It's about engaging with it more profoundly, more fully. When you stop obsessing over how things ought to be, you start to perceive them with clarity just as they are. You become present, not reactive. You feel grounded, not easily shaken. You quit wrestling with reality and begin to move with its current. If someone behaves disrespectfully and you're not hooked on always being respected, you'll feel no internal resistance. If someone disagrees and you're not attached to always being correct, you'll feel no urge to fight. If someone leaves and you're not dependent on their staying, you'll remain complete because your sense of self was never built on their constant presence. Release that intense need to always be understood, that compulsion to always be right, that urge to control everything, that desire for life to always unfold your way. These needs are actually anchors weighing you down in suffering. It's not the downpour that spoils your day. It's your rigid expectation of sunshine. It's not the traffic jam that makes you boil. It's your attachment to getting there fast. It's not another person's quietness that causes you pain. It's your deep craving for their constant attention. Life gets remarkably simpler the moment you stop insisting it be something else. You start to navigate with lightness, without that constant pushback. You welcome what arrives, you release what departs, you give up trying to force the world to fit your mold. Instead, you flexibly adjust your mindset to meet each moment as it is. When your tranquility is anchored in something timeless within you, not in fleeting external things, you move with a natural grace. You're no longer swayed by opinions, by noise, by chaos, or by setbacks. You observe it all, and you respond only when truly called for, not from fear, not from ego, not from anger, but from a place of deep clarity. And this clarity emerges when the static of attachment quiets down. When you truly get that peace was never out there in the world, it was inside you all this time, just waiting for you to uncover it. Not by trying to control more, but by letting go more. The journey isn't about acquiring more things. It's about needing fewer things. to quit looking for safety in things that can be snatched away, to stop chasing validation from people who will inevitably change, to cease building your identity on what you own or achieve. When you truly let go, you don't actually lose a thing, you gain everything. You gain genuine freedom, profound strength, an unshakable presence, and a peace that can't be disturbed. So release the fantasy that the world has to perform perfectly for you to feel content. It's not the world that's unsettling you. It's your own tight grip on how you think it should be. When you remove that clinging, nothing can really get to you anymore, because there's nothing left for the world to latch onto. That is genuine power. That is authentic peace. That is true freedom. Keep journeying on this path with open hands and a heart full of your own presence. Your vital energy follows where your attention is directed. You must train your focus. Most people live their lives feeling drained, not really because they're overworking, but because they're constantly leaking energy through endless distractions, impulsive reactions, and emotional static. They let their attention get pulled every which way without ever pausing to consider where it's actually going or if it even matters. You cannot steer your life if you don't command your focus, because your energy isn't limitless. Every second you spend dwelling on things that don't help you grow, every time you react to things that don't warrant your precious energy, you're chipping away at your own inner foundation. The world is incredibly noisy, and it constantly vies for your attention. Everything is competing for it: your smartphone, your anxieties, your ego, the dramas of others. But someone walking a path of inner strength, like a warrior of the spirit, chooses differently. This person understands that attention isn't trivial, it's a sacred resource. If you persistently fixate on what angers you, you'll shape yourself into an angry individual. If you're always scanning for what's wrong, you'll inhabit a reality that mirrors that negativity. If your mind is perpetually stuck in the past, you can't truly move ahead. And if you hand over your attention to the fluctuating opinions of others, you'll never clearly hear your own inner guidance. This is precisely why training your mind isn't just a nice idea, it's absolutely crucial. Your focus is like a precision tool, a sharp blade, and if you don't hone it daily, it grows dull and easily scattered. In traditions like Shaolin, every disciplined movement, every conscious breath, every moment of profound stillness is integral to this honing process. The monks don't just practice physical arts to sculpt their bodies. They practice to discipline their minds, because a powerful body without a trained mind can be chaotic and even destructive, but a trained mind without a healthy body can lack stability and vitality. Focus is cultivated in quiet moments, through consistent repetition, by navigating discomfort, and with immense patience. When you sit with your breath and notice your thoughts trying to drag you away, and you gently bring your attention back, again and again, you are forging deep inner resilience. When you maintain your attention on what truly counts, even when everything around you is clamoring for your notice, you are developing an unshakable core. Most individuals aren't wary because they're doing an excessive amount. They're wary because their energy is dispersed. Their attention is fragmented across a multitude of trivial things, and none of them cultivate peace. When your energy is spread thin, your personal power diminishes. But when your energy is concentrated, your very presence becomes potent. To remain untroubled by others, you must consciously withdraw your attention from them when necessary, not because you're unfeeling, but because your inner peace is far too precious to squander. When someone disrespects you, what they often seek is your reaction. They want a piece of your energy, and if you give it to them, you're essentially fueling their fire. But if you keep your focus centered within, if you choose not to react, you maintain your self-command. You don't leak energy, you consolidate it. Discipline is simply focus in action. It's choosing to remain present when your mind wants to wander. It's choosing to stay composed when the world attempts to provoke you. It's choosing the more challenging path, not because it's immediately gratifying, but because it builds genuine strength. Take a moment and ask yourself, where does your focus typically go each day? Is it invested in building your inner world, or is it squandered trying to please everyone else? Is it directed towards mastering your unique skills, or is it wasted in comparing yourself to others? Is it utilized to create and contribute, or is it consumed by complaining? You cannot elevate yourself if your focus is perpetually on what's beneath you. You cannot grow if your attention is always on what you perceive as lacking. You cannot master yourself if you're constantly preoccupied with watching others. Where your attention settles, your energy concentrates. Where your energy concentrates, your life expands and flourishes. And if your attention is deeply rooted in stillness, presence, and purpose, then your life will naturally begin to mirror that same profound power. Most things truly don't warrant your attention. Most problems aren't as solid as they seem. They are often just shadows, magnified by your intense focus. Withdraw your focus, and the perceived problem diminishes. Reclaim your energy, and the inner storm subsides. You must become the vigilant protector of your attention. Choose with great care where it is directed and who or what receives it. Your focus essentially shapes your life experience. If you give it away carelessly, you risk losing your connection to yourself. But if you direct it with clear intention, you become a truly formidable presence. Your peace, your strength, your growth, they all spring from this wellspring of focus. The more you cultivate it, the less the external world can unsettle you, because you no longer offer your power away indiscriminately. Keep your gaze on your path. Keep your energy centered within, and let every action be a testament to your discipline and awareness. Inner quietness is not a sign of being weak. It is self-command expressed in silence. In a world that screams at you to do more, be louder, move quicker, the most profound strength you can demonstrate is to remain centered when others are scrambling to react, to stay quiet when others are shouting, and to stand solid when everything around you seems to be trembling. Stillness isn't the lack of power, it is its most refined expression. It's the mark of a mind that isn't dictated by the immediate moment but sees far beyond the surface noise. It's the discipline of someone who has trained themselves not to act unless action is truly needed, not to speak unless words carry weight, and not to engage unless the engagement is meaningful. People often assume that if you don't immediately react, you must be feeble. But the reality is, if you react to every little thing, you are not in charge. You are like a marionette, your strings pulled by emotion, pride, fear, and ego. The person who snaps back instantly isn't truly free. They are caught in a cycle of habit. They are governed by what they feel in the moment, not by what they deeply know. But the one who can remain still, they are free. They observe an emotion rise and simply watch it. They hear an insult but don't let it pierce them. They feel the inner storm but are not swept away by it, because they understand that stillness isn't passive. It is incredibly active. It is vibrant. It is awareness in its most concentrated, potent form. In wisdom traditions like the Shaolin, stillness is cultivated just as diligently as dynamic movement. Monks might hold challenging postures for extended periods, not as a form of self-punishment, but to forge mental discipline. Every moment of sustained stillness teaches them that they are not on this earth to chase after every fleeting thought, to be swept away by every passing feeling, or to respond to every single provocation. They are here to stay grounded, unshakable, and completely present in the now. Genuine stillness arises when you have absolutely nothing to prove to anyone, when you no longer crave to be noticed or constantly heard, when you no longer depend on external validation or the need to win. It emerges when your identity is no longer entangled with how others treat you or their opinions of you. It comes when you deeply realize that your silence isn't a lack of strength, it's a profound wellspring of wisdom. Within stillness there is remarkable clarity. You perceive things that others, in their flurry of reactions, completely overlook. You hear truths that others, in their constant chatter, fail to notice. You discover solutions not by struggling harder, but by waiting with patient awareness. And in that patient space, truth often unveils itself. Don't ever confuse loudness with genuine power. Don't mistake aggression for true strength. The individual who always feels compelled to speak, to defend, to argue, to fight, that person is often the most vulnerable, because their mind cannot tolerate silence. Their heart cannot sit with unease. Their ego cannot bear to be unseen. But the one who possesses authentic strength doesn't feel the need to jump into every fray. They don't need to win every minor skirmish, because they recognize that most of these are mere distractions. They are invitations to abandon your inner peace, to squander your precious energy. And if you accept these invitations, you're trading your serene stillness for a fleeting sense of pride. When someone tries to provoke you and you choose to remain still, you've already won. Not because you've defeated them, but because you've conquered yourself, that reactive part of you, that prideful part, that insecure part. You demonstrate that you are no longer controlled by your lower impulses but guided by your higher awareness. Stillness does not equate to inaction. It signifies appropriate action. It means responding from a place of awareness, not just reacting from emotion. It means waiting for the opportune moment, and when that moment arrives, moving with precision, power, and clear purpose. To be still is to be highly observant. To be still is to remain composed while others might be panicking. To be still is to listen intently before you speak, to think deeply before you act, and to be unshakable when others attempt to rattle you. Stillness is the very bedrock of discipline. It acts as a mirror, reflecting the state of your mind. If your mind is turbulent, you'll find it impossible to sit still. If your heart is agitated, you cannot embrace silence. If your spirit is unsettled, you cannot maintain calm. But if you dedicate yourself daily to sitting in silence, to breathing through discomfort, to holding your ground without being swayed, you begin to cultivate an inner strength that, while invisible, is felt by everyone around you. You start to radiate a presence of calm, focus, and when others observe you, they don't see weakness. They sense depth. They perceive power that is perfectly under control. Stillness is the discipline of holding your inner sword without the constant urge to brandish it, of standing your ground firmly without needing external validation, of being at peace even when the world around you seems chaotic, yet remaining perfectly poised to act the moment your purpose calls. When you are truly still, you begin to see that most things simply don't warrant your reaction. Most arguments are hollow. Most chaos is just surface noise. Most people are just reflecting their own inner struggles. And if you try to absorb all of that, you will lose your own center. But if you choose to remain still, you reflect nothing back. You absorb nothing. You allow everything to flow past you, like the wind moving through a dense forest. And nothing can truly disturb you unless you grant it permission. This is the way of true self-command. This is the discipline of one who walks with silence, not as an escape route but as an incredibly potent tool. The still mind is the most formidable mind. The still individual is the most impactful individual because they cannot be easily manipulated by fleeting emotions or broken by external noise. Train your mind to achieve stillness, and you will see the world with unparalleled clarity. Train your heart to find calmness, and you will feel life with profound depth. Train your body to be unshakable, and you will navigate through chaos completely untouched. Stillness is not the destination. It is the solid foundation from which authentic, powerful action springs. It is the sacred space where true power resides quietly, awaiting the perfect moment to move with clear intention and unwavering clarity. And that, my friend, is your path to inner mastery.